Then I kind of quit on YouTube. I was like so scared of that platform. It's like, y'all don't like me over there. It's cool. And then YouTube Shorts got brought up. I started seeing my content on YouTube Shorts. People were stealing my content from TikTok. One of my videos had like 20 million views.
If y'all gonna steal
someone else's account,
I'm posting this myself.
So I was like, okay, we gotta move our stuff over there. This is crazy. We gotta beat them. So Sade on my team, my community manager, starts reposting everything. We're getting all the series up. We're just putting everything up. And we're now at like 350,000 subscribers. So
we love to hear it.
Yes, taking risks and being willing to try and shift and grow. And yeah, stop thinking that you have to be this one thing. You will amaze yourself with all the things that you can do that you thought you couldn't.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to the Minor Detail Podcast. I'm your host, Kyla Ariel, and like I always say, I am so grateful. Literally so grateful that you are tuning into today's episode. Listen, if you are listening in, thank you. If you are viewing, watching, I am just so appreciative. Today's conversation will be beyond fruitful. And I know I probably always say that, but it's because I truly mean it, okay? I have the best guests, the best women who join us to share their stories, to share their blueprint and how they got to be where they are today. So I couldn't be more happier to introduce you to our guest on today's show. You may know her as Life with Tanya Marie, but today you are going to meet the Tanya Marie of content creation, literally mogul creator. In my mind, if I could just be 100% honest with you, okay? If the term like got it out the mud or from the ground up, like she has literally built an empire in a little under 3 years, almost 3 years, and she is here with us today to not only drop all of the gems and share resources in her journey, but just to give a behind the scenes look into what being a creator is really about. No fluff. No frou-frou moments. We might get there. We might get on those, right? But it's really to get behind the scenes and to give the real. And I'm just so grateful that you are joining us today. Thank you for being here.
No, thank you for having me. Yes. I mean, it's such a pleasure, that speech, like take it right to the core. That hit me hard. And I'm excited to just talk about everything that's been happening in my world. Like I've told you so many times, I've gone through so many transitions in just the last year. And it's been 3 years, but it's been like, every year has been such a new chapter that I just still feel like I'm getting somewhere. Like I still feel I'm at the beginning, but it feels like it's been years at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I'm super excited to chat today about all the things, and hopefully I'll be dropping some gems for y'all so you feel like you can go and maybe take a step in your direction, whatever that may be, whatever's in your mind. I always say when God puts something in your mind, it's meant to be done. So
absolutely, I'm
excited to chat.
I love that. Well, number one, you are a natural gym dropper, so I know that will be a part of today's episode.
Let's get it.
I think it's so interesting too, because I feel like what is most like reoccurring in these conversations are seasons, and so I'm so excited to just dive into how each of those seasons have been different for you, and what you've gained from them, what experiences you've had. So without further ado, we'll hop in. Cool. How are you feeling today, by the way?
I'm feeling good.
Okay, cool.
I'm feeling good. I woke up and I had a good morning routine, so we're off to a good start.
What's your morning routine?
On a good day.
On a good day. True.
On a bad day, I'm just rolling out with my bonnet, hoping for the best. But on a good day, I actually I brush my teeth. I have a good skincare routine. Maybe I listen to some music. Okay, I get to sit down and have a second before I'm just like jumping into the day. So I had that today. So I feel good.
I love that, and congratulations on becoming a new mama.
Thank
by the way,
you.
we had to start off with that because I know that's a part of the morning routine.
For sure. Which is why I'm like impressed that I even had a morning routine today. That didn't include Tanya every step of the way.
Right. Well, you came ready and prepared. I think I want to dive right into it.
Yeah,
like we said before, you've been in the creator space for about 3 years now.
Yep.
Take us back to the beginning. How did you get your start as a content creator, influencer? personality in this digital world.
Yeah. I'm not supposed to be here, I say. Like, maybe in God's world I was, but in my mind, I was still supposed to be in corporate America. I have always been a creative at heart. I was a theater kid growing up. I've always just been a goofball. I studied news broadcasting in college, and I found out that world really wasn't for me pretty quickly when I felt like I couldn't be myself. I felt it was very scripted. It just really wasn't, it didn't want me to be me. And so I felt like it wasn't a good area for me to go into. And so I went into corporate America and tech sales. I wanted to make a lot of money. I was living in San Francisco. I was broke. And I knew that a creative role, I would not be making the amount of money that I wanted to live comfortably. And so that kind of led me into corporate America. And I was very successful. I had a great tech sales job. I was making great money. And I feel like a lot of people, the pandemic hit and everyone's worlds just kind of like collapsed. And mine was definitely one of them. I was living in Chicago at the time. And I just remember them sending us home from work. And then within 3 weeks, we were on a call and there was about 50 of us and they let maybe 35 of us go on that call. And it was just boom. That was it. It was like, yeah, so you can keep your laptops.
Thanks.
Yeah, you can keep your laptops, but you no longer have a job. And we'll give you severance, and take care of you. But that's kind of the end of the road here. And I was working for like a startup. So it was expected. But it was hard. I definitely was depressed. I definitely was in a phase of, what am I going to do now? Am I going to go back to corporate America because I know I can do it and I'm just going to settle, right? Or am I going to maybe do something that's been in my mind for a long time? And I was very comfortable with where I was at. My husband's in tech. And I was comfortable just saying, 100K is good for me and I don't need anything else. If I make 100K, all my problems are going to go away. That's it. Like, that's all I got to make. And I've made it. Like, and it was a very small-minded way of thinking and thinking that, if I do that and, my husband keeps doing good, like, we'll be good. He's always got it. I don't got to worry about anything. It's crazy that I thought like that at that time. But
we've all been there.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
but it's embarrassing.
I mean, yes,
because
it's
I had
a part
so
of that
much
growth.
I know, but it was so crazy that that's what I thought for myself was enough.
Yeah.
And I was good with that.
And you can say that now because of where you have gone in your journey.
Because maybe I would have stayed there the whole time and just been complacent forever. So yeah, I really kind of just fell into a little bit of depression. I remember I wanted to have a social media presence. It always was something that was interesting to me, but I never really fully pursued it. You drop a video and then you disappear for 3 months. So you drop another video and nothing happens. And eventually my niece said, hey, you're pretty depressed. You're pretty sad. You should probably download the app Tik Tok.
Your niece? How old is your niece?
At the time, she must have been. She's 18 now.
Okay.
So she must have been, in high school.
Yeah.
But she
Shout
was
out
like,
to niece.
Yeah, she kept it real. She was like, you should download the app Tik Tok. It's super funny. I think you'll enjoy the humor, the comedy. And yeah, just have a good time over there. So I downloaded the app and I remember I posted a video. It was a dumb trend. Like, it was basically people taking items and using them. It was like walk a mile in these Louboutins. So they would turn them into heels. And I literally took little Jack Daniels bottles and I glued them to the bottom of my sock. And I walked out and the heel was the Jack Daniels bottle. It said I walk a mile in these Louboutins. That video got like 30,000 views. Okay. So I'm
Your
like.
first video.
Your first video.
Wow.
And that was it. Like, why did I do that? I don't know. So I was like, what's this app, yo?
I love it.
What's this app?
What is this app?
I've never got views on nothing. So I was really feeling myself after that. And then honestly, I just treated it like a full-time job. Posted 3 times a day, Monday through Friday for a month. And by the end of that month, I was like at 80,000.
Wow. Okay.
Pause. It's been up from there.
We got to pause. You said way too many good things. Let's go back to corporate.
Yes.
So you were in tech sales. Oh, gosh. I plead the fifth. So you were in tech sales. Were you with one company the entire time or multiple? No. Okay.
No. So I actually, right out of college, I worked for Snapchat.
Okay.
I was on a creative team on Snapchat for about a year. Didn't get paid very much at all.
Was this tech sales or
this
you were
was
like
not in tech sales? This was on, they were releasing a new part of the app.
Okay.
It was actually like the maps in Snapchat where you can like see where your friends are located and you can like click in. We basically built that out with a group of developers.
And I mean, being a Snapchat is nothing to sneeze at.
No,
by the way,
I
coming
thought
out of
I made
college,
it
yeah,
until I saw my paycheck.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and there was nowhere like for me to grow in that role. It was like a project-based thing. They had hired us on to work with the developer team. It was cool, but I ended up, rekindling a little romance with my husband now, and he was in Chicago. So I was like, I got to get out of here. And this, my year contract is up. And I had a friend that worked for a company called Insight Global, which is a staffing company. And she was like, you can make a lot of money over here. She had some nice handbags. She drove a nice car. I was like, what are you doing? It's like, if you're good at talking to people, like this could be a job for you. I was like, oh, I can talk to people. She's like, all right, well, I'll set you up. I interviewed in San Francisco. They loved me. I moved to Chicago. I did the interview within the first week of moving to Chicago and moving in with my husband now. And I got the job on the spot. And so I worked for them for about almost 2 years.
Wow.
Until I jumped over to a startup opportunity because I saw more money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, that idea that 6 figures is like the goal, bread and butter, that's like the peak or pinnacle point that I need to be at in order to be deemed successful. I think that's
crazy.
It is, and I think that's a real experience because I have a similar experience where I quit. Well, I lived in LA. I was broke, so I totally understand how that experience goes. But I quit my job during COVID, so instead of like being let go, I decided to leave.
Okay.
And I thought that I actually tried to go into tech sales, but I didn't end up getting the opportunity. But I thought that I would have a job like instantly after quitting. So it was like 10 months long that I didn't have a job.
Oh my gosh.
And throughout that entire time, I was like, man, if I could just like find a role that would pay more and hit this number. And I remember God just really having to work through me, in me.
Yeah.
To get a better understanding around, like, why is it that you want to make this money? Like, what are you even going to do? What are you prepared? Are you prepared to receive? So that was my experience. But I can 100% like empathize with you as it relates to just wanting to, see that type of increase.
Yeah.
And you don't even know that you're limiting yourself.
Oh my
because
God, I was
of what
limiting myself
God has in
everything.
store,
And I thought that was the answer. That was my happiness. Mm-hmm. If I make that 100K, I can support whatever I need to as a soon-to-be wife, as a partner, that's all that I need to do. And everything else will be fine. And that was so far from the truth.
Man. So when you eventually, we can fast forward now, but you eventually left that role, got laid off, and then got on TikTok. When you were on TikTok, when you first posted that video, was that your like platform of choice, or had you been sharing content to other platforms like Instagram, YouTube, for example?
So I had like a YouTube channel. It's actually still out there. But there were some videos up from like college, and I was like thinking I was going to be a YouTube girly, right? And I tried, and it never really worked out. And then Instagram, I think I had 6,000 followers, so I wasn't by any means like very small.
Yeah.
But I had gained all my followers from being a Hooters girl and working in bottle service and like living this other life that I lived.
Working in bottle service in college.
It was
I don't know why I regret that, but I do.
The money was good. It was a hustle, but it was a time. So I feel like I gained my followers from just that small experience, but they weren't active followers. Like they weren't really engaging. They were just kind of there,
The people that know you, that are kind of like your community, or they're kind of familiar, or they're following you. Yeah.
Yeah. So TikTok was definitely like, it's still right now that's my rock.
Yeah. I love that. Your bread and butter.
Yeah, for sure. I love that
platform that you thrive on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Instagram.
Yeah. I have a love-hate relationship with that place, but it's okay.
You love your people.
I love my people. Yeah. I just wish they weren't over there and they would come over to the dark side.
Do you see that with your audience, that it's split between platforms? Or do you feel like people have that
sometimes
crossover?
I feel like we're getting more crossover now. But for a while, it was very divided because it was really hard for Instagram to understand TikTok content because it's so different.
Yeah.
And what hits on TikTok might not hit on Instagram. And Instagram is behind when it comes to trends and pop culture sometimes. Like they're a little bit behind. So sometimes they don't even get what's going on. They'll be mad at a trend. It's like, oh, it's a trend. It's a joke. Thought we were having a good time.
Thought we were having a good time over
And they're
here.
like, no.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
Get this off the internet. Like,
It's two different places.
So it's two different places.
It is. It is. And I love too that I think what's interesting about your journey is you were kind of like forced to be a full-time creator versus like choosing that for yourself.
Correct.
But going all in really proved to be successful, and it proved to be successful very quickly.
Yes and no.
No. Okay.
So at the beginning of TikTok, you didn't get paid.
Exactly. Yeah.
So brands did not know what to do with us. They're like, okay, there's these creators, they have high engagement, there's all these wonderful things happening over there, but I don't know how to pay this person. Versus Instagram pay structure has been going on for so long. You know, they can look at your followers, your engagement number, and kind of gauge over these years, we've paid this amount for a post like this. TikTok was the wild, wild west. It was all about how good can you negotiate with these brands to get paid. And so, like, I'll say this again, and on the record, I went into debt making my career. Credit card debt galore. Because I had my severance covering my rent. I never wanted to ask my husband to pay for my rent. I never wanted to ask him to pay for anything for me. So all that severance covered all of that. It was like my personal life was covered. My business was credit card. So I was just swiping my Chase Sapphire Reserve like, ooh, I got to review this product. Or I want to do this from Sephora. And by the end of that year, 2020, I mean, I was $25,000 in credit card debt.
Ooh.
With no really money coming in.
Yeah.
Because the brand deals that I was getting, it was still hard to negotiate. So at the end of 2020, I had to really face reality and say, you're either going to have to quit and go back because you're in trouble. You're in a hole now. And you're supposed to be paying for your wedding with your husband. Jesus. Are you okay? Are you well? So it was either that or give it a month, 2 months, where you just go really hard and you're very consistent and you're strategic about what you're posting. And if you can be successful and you can see a turnaround in this next 2 months, January and February of 2021, then you can stick with this. But otherwise, you got to go back.
Yeah. I mean, if $25,000 in credit card debt won't do it for you, I don't
and
know
it
what
will.
else
And
will.
you know that interest rate is crazy.
Absolutely.
So it was just like, I was getting hit.
Yeah.
And my husband's like, we got to look at wedding venues.
Ooh, I would have been stressed.
It was very stressful.
Yeah. So
And I was by myself at the time. I did not have Sade with me. Thank God I have her with me now. But I did not have her
We
with
love
me
Sade.
at that time.
We left Sade.
And it was very stressful.
Yeah, for sure. So did you prioritize debt like as soon as you, because we haven't gotten to the
Yes.
point where now you're on the rise, right?
Yes.
You're negotiating contracts, you're
Yes.
expanding across platforms. Was that one of your biggest priorities?
Yes, right. The credit card debt, my student loans, everything was starting to compound onto each other.
Yeah.
And I just need to know what's my gateway out. Because, like, even if I go into corporate America, I'm never going to get that big paycheck that's just going to pay this all off in, like, one thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I make a huge commission. But the chances of it, if I'm going to make that huge commission, that deal could take a whole year. You know, my husband's deals can take 6 months to a year and a half. And then he gets this big check.
Yeah.
I don't got time like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really in trouble. So it was really crazy. And I know I hit 100K like January 2021. I was like, oh my God, 100K on TikTok. And then Reels came out. I was like, yeah, game on. Because I just started moving everything over there quickly. And by that time, at the end of the year, I was at like 20,000 on Instagram, 100K on TikTok. So I was like, all right, well, something has to happen now.
And you grew fast.
Yeah.
You really did. Because, I mean, like we've been saying, it's been 3 years. Like,
Yeah. No, it's
this is a
crazy.
story that would sound like this is over the span of 10,
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
But this is 3 years, y'all.
I know, which why it feels like it's been a long 3
Yeah,
years.
for sure. And I think, too, another thing that stands out is that you were creating content, or I won't say creating, you were publishing, you were posting. Content was going live on your channels 3 times a day
In
at
real
one point.
time.
In real time, 3 times a day. Stories, video.
It was crazy.
Static imagery. I mean, I'm a strategist at the end of the day.
In a one
social
apartment
strategist,
bedroom
so-
with my husband that was
Yeah.
working from home in the tech world.
Yeah.
Like, he would lock himself in the bedroom and I'd be in the living room like acting like a circus.
You're that's my point is like you're turning out more content than brands. Like
Yeah, for
in
sure.
order for us to get this amount of content out, we have to like
Yeah, it was
ship
crazy.
it through, for approvals and all these other things. So I think that's just the upper hand that creators have. But one of the bigger twists or turns in your life that happened within this 3 years is in 2022, you found out you were becoming a mom.
Yeah, that part.
How did that change your
Oh my
lifestyle?
God,
Not
it
like your
changed
creator
everything.
lifestyle.
It changed everything. 2022 was like the year of my dreams. Everything I had worked for came true. Like, I flew everywhere. I was going on tons of brand trips. I was at New York Fashion Week. I took 84 flights that year. It was crazy.
What was your favorite brand trip? Can you say that on the? Can you say that on the record?
Honestly, YSL.
Oh, that's a good one.
And the reason I said it because it was so bougie, I didn't even know what to do. Like, I flew into Palm Springs. I said, "What? Not the airport being outside.
It's outside.
It was already
I've been in Palm Springs once, and then I think they have the automatic doors when you come out your terminal.
Yeah, and then I had a car waiting for me.
Yeah.
I had a car waiting for me. We get in. There's champagne in the car. I get out. There's champagne waiting for me at the front of the resort. We'll take you to your room, Miss Selke. Excuse me? I will go with you. Everything was crazy. The resort that we stayed at was like one of these crazy resorts in Palm Springs that they filmed tons of movies at. Tons of celebrities go there. Like, now if I see it, I'm like, I stayed there.
I stayed there.
You know? And I was in the room with a ton of people that I never thought I would ever meet. I was like, what am I doing here? Imposter syndrome wanted to try to get the best of me that time. Because I was like, I don't understand. I'm sitting next to creators that have 20 million people. And I hadn't even had 1 million yet. So I was like, what am I doing here? So YSL was really cool. But yeah, I was everywhere. and then I'm thinking, all right, 2023 is about to be epic. Like, I'm a beauty creator. I've made it. I'm respected. I have relationships because I've gone on all these brand trips. I know other people in the space. Any big person that you know, I've probably, sat across with them, kikied with them. I'm like really feeling good. I'm like, I did it. I became the beauty creator that I like tried to be in college on YouTube, And I did it on a platform that didn't even exist then. So it was really cool. And I was actually on a brand trip when I conceived. So I took my husband to his first brand trip with me. It was for Tarte. We went. It was in Key Largo. It was all the vibes, of course. And come back 3 weeks from that trip, something ain't right. Something wasn't right. I thought I had COVID. I thought I had the flu. Told my team,
not pregnancy
sorry.
Feels like COVID or the flu.
Home.
Wait a minute.
I said,
add that to the list.
Y'all stay home. I got to go to the doctors. I don't know what's going on with me. Just to get in there and run all the tests and say, no, you're good. Do you think you could be pregnant? I mean, I'm married. Comes in, you're expecting. I mean, I was in shock. I was in absolute shock.
It wasn't planned.
It was not planned. And I'm okay with saying that.
Yeah.
Because it was the plan for me, but it was not planned by me.
For that time, that timing. Yeah, exactly. Which is
I was living in an apartment.
How we know none of this is our timing, really.
Yeah, I just was living a very fast-paced life. I was saying yes. It was my yes year to say yes to everything. So I was honestly like in shock. And I remember calling my team like, y'all can come to my apartment right now. Like, I don't got the vid or the flu. And they're all like, this is scary. Like, why is she calling us? And I remember I just like took them into a conference room because we used to have these little business centers in our apartment unit. And I just was like, you guys, I'm pregnant. I just remember crying my eyes out. I was just crying. You guys got to go to the store. You got to get me more tests. I don't believe it. Go to the store, get me more tests. Took all the tests. They were coming back positive. So I'm like, all right, I got to tell my husband now. He loved it.
Yeah, of course.
And seeing his reaction made me excited.
Yeah.
And once I knew what it was, I was excited, but I was also scared. I felt like I had worked really hard to get to where I was. And you see so many women give up everything when they become a mom. And I didn't know what that was going to look like for me. And I didn't know what the beauty space was going to be to me. And I just didn't know where I was supposed to take my team of the year. I have a team that now relies on me. They're riding for me. They're going to go wherever I go, and I don't know where I'm going to take them. So it was really, really scary. And I felt like all of a sudden my life was already accelerated, but this was like foot to the ground, like get me off this ride.
For sure. And
for a second.
When things aren't planned, especially something like pregnancy, I think it's fair to, because you're not anticipating it, and everything up to this point you've planned, you've kind of controlled to a certain extent,
and I was being selfish.
Yeah.
So I was like, anything, whatever, yes, I'm going, no matter what.
No
like,
matter
let's
what.
just go.
And it just changes overnight. Yeah. I get that. And I personally, I can picture myself in that situation more times than the opposite, because again, you want things to go according to your plan.
Absolutely.
And the way that you've envisioned it. And this was your year because 2022 was so amazing. How did this change the course of your business specifically? Because I think from the outside looking in, all we see are like, you mentioned the trips, the content, and then the wonderful, beautiful announcement, right? And the celebration. But we don't get the behind the scenes emotion and experience, which is totally fine because that's private and that's your moment.
I needed that time.
You have to figure out, obviously, you're having to figure out, what does this shift look like? Because you're a beauty creator. What does this look like for my content? My interests are changing. You know what I mean? What were those shifts like?
Yeah. It was really hard. First trimester is obviously can be very hard for any pregnant woman because your hormones are all over the place. You're nauseous. You can't eat. You're stressed because you're trying to like readjust, all these things. Luckily, it happened at a time where no one was looking for me. It was happening during the holidays. So everyone's kind of just like, you know, they're there for a little bit. And then in the holidays, everyone kind of pieces out and kind of goes does their own thing. So I was able to hide really nicely. It was really great timing. So I kind of went into hiding and told my team, you know, we're in December. Let's just kind of finish out the year and we'll talk in January. I was actually pretty silent on socials in January. I don't think people really noticed, but I really wasn't there. I tried to create content. It felt super inauthentic. I told my team, I feel like I'm lying. I feel like I'm talking about beauty products that I don't even care about. Like, I don't care about beauty right now. I don't care about doing Get Ready With Me. I don't care about anything. I'm just trying to figure out what we're supposed to do, how to get out of my apartment. You know, all these things. I'm trying to buy a house.
Was your lease almost up?
No, we broke our lease.
Oh, dang.
We broke our lease. We started looking for houses immediately. We were already kind of looking. But when we found out, I said, we got to get a house like right now. So we actually put an offer in on the house right at the last day of the year. So December 31st, we put in an offer and we got accepted.
Wow.
They had a whole bunch of things. They wanted to sell this house at the end of the year. They wanted to get it in for their quota. I said, absolutely, let's get it done. So I knew that the house was going to be done in March, but now I'm prepping. Okay, so I'm moving into an empty house with apartment furniture and my baby's due in July. How's this going to work?
Yeah, that's like a quarter apart.
It's too much. It was
Almost?
too much. Yeah. It was crazy. So I felt really inauthentic. I really was feeling like I was forcing things online. And so I told my team, I was like, it's time for us to announce. We need to announce because I need to get this off my chest. And I need to do this in a way that is creative and storytelling, right? Because I knew that the Get Ready With Me's, the me being in my room, talking directly to camera, all these aspects that I had in my brand kind of had to go away. Because now I have to think about, I'm going to have a baby in my space. Doing a talk to camera with a baby in your space just sounds crazy. Just sounds wild. I knew that my voice was the strongest thing that I have when it comes to content creation because that's where I had my big growth prior. When I was doing beauty content, I used to do trends only. And then one day I decided to talk to the camera. And that's when I went from literally 100K to 400K in a month. So I knew my voice was everything.
Yeah.
So I went back to what I already knew worked. Your voice is your best instrument. That's your talent. That's what people connect to. So you can't get rid of that. But how you use your voice has to change. So I decided I got to lean into voiceover. I got to make my content voiceover. They have to get used to not hearing me talk directly to camera. They have to hear me as a storyteller now. So now I'm going to use my news broadcasting background, storytelling, right? How to get a story in a minute's time. I'm going to use my voice because I know that's my strongest thing. And the last aspect is, what am I going to be talking about? It's not going to be beauty anymore because that doesn't work. It's not real right now. And what's real is I'm stressed about moving into a home. What's real is I'm going to be the best mom I know how to be because when I do something, I do it 100%. And I'm still going to be a boss at the same time. And I'm still going to be an entrepreneur. And I'm still going to be a wife. And I'm still going to be a friend. I'm still going to be a daughter. I'm still going to show up. So how do I introduce that to the world? How does the world see that? Because they only know one side of me right now is beauty. I'm so much more than that. So that's when we really started to lean in. Okay, storytelling is where we're at. Voiceover is where we're at. And I wanted to come out with a series, something that would take people through my journey for the long run. So I started my Dream Home series. That was the first thing that I started. I was like, I'm investing a ton of money into this house. It's my biggest investment this year in my business was my home. Sounds crazy, but for our job, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am going to make the most beautiful home, a home that I wake up in every day, and I'm excited to walk around this home and create in. Because that will be what's best for me. This home needs to be peaceful, needs to be warm, needs to be a place where I can gather with my friends and people. And so I invested a ton of money into our house right up front. I found an interior designer in January. We made all of our plans by March, and we were ordering all of our furniture by the end of March, and everything came in before that baby got here.
Okay, I have to stop you because this is too good. This is too good because I'm hearing so many things. One of the biggest themes, I think, that you're walking us through is preparedness, because you had to be prepared to buy the home, whether or not, you know, it was something you planned. I mean, if you plan it, it gives you a little bit more time. But in this instance, you didn't. So you were obviously prepared from a financial standpoint, you and your husband, to be able to make this type of commitment or investment, and preparedness to like shift your content, preparedness to make that change and just be open-minded to what that might come with. And I think a lot of times we're not prepared for those big moments, and life kind of comes at us, and it comes at us fast. But I love hearing that you are just so adamant about being prepared, whether or not, I don't know, is it something you're intentional about? I'm not sure. But I love that. You're like, I don't know. I love that you are, though, because I think that that's a really great example that you're setting, whether or not people can see that through social. Because I think a lot of times social has us jaded about our favorite creators. Like, it has us.
They don't know how hard it was to get there. And a lot of times people don't feel comfortable talking about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is fair.
For sure. But I love, number one, that you have felt comfortable speaking about that. But even more so, like, you literally, I don't know, how do I want to articulate this? I just kind of feel like investing in your home was one of the smartest things that you could have done for yourself and your content. But many of us would look at it as, you know where I'm going with this? Many of us will look at it as a waste of time or not the best use of finances or funds. And I just think that we got to get more creative. We got to get more honest with ourselves about, like, looking into the future and understanding where we want to be and how we get to that point. So I just love, that's why I was like, I got to stop you, because we got to highlight that. I want people to know that it's okay to do things differently than you may have seen it done before.
Absolutely.
It's okay to not know how you need to move forward just because you don't have that blueprint or that direction.
For sure. And I don't think I've had a blueprint at all.
No.
Like, where I come from is not a blueprint.
Yeah.
Where both me and my husband come from is not a blueprint. We're in a very different space than where we grew up in. So, like, I say it to my team all the time. I don't know where I'm going. I don't have anyone to go call and say, did we make the right decision? There's nobody. It's just us making decisions on what we think is best for us. But it's crazy when I think back. I'm like, that year, 2022, all that money I made was for this.
You weren't reckless.
It's crazy, like, how that all worked out. It wasn't like I was just working to say I made the money. It was for the biggest investment that I'm probably going to have in my business.
Yeah.
I know there'll be more, but this one was huge for me. And so it's, like, crazy to say, like, I was doing all that to think I made it and all this stuff, but you were just laying the groundwork and foundation for this.
And sometimes laying the groundwork and the foundation doesn't feel good.
No.
Because you have a lot of experience with in this pivot that you've made.
Yes. And I was very uncomfortable spending money.
Yeah.
Because I had no money, because I went into debt. So then you give me all this money. I'm sitting here thinking, what am I supposed to do with all of this? You know, we paid for our wedding. We did that. And then within the same year, we're buying a house. So it was a lot going on. It was very uncomfortable. It's still uncomfortable to think about it. But I knew that I've always dreamed of creating in a space that just felt good always.
And you're doing it.
Yeah.
In that space.
And I don't think it's actually set in.
I feel that.
Like, I still wake up and go, what are we doing here?
It's an Airbnb. Am I living a dream?
And I used to say, even when we first moved, I used to say, I feel like someone's going to kick us out the house. Like, tell us we got to go home or something.
Your time is up here.
Yeah, your time is up. Like, you don't, it's crazy. It's crazy. And it's because I'm moving so fast, I haven't really, like, paused. But I think the investment was all worth it, considering, like, where the series has gone and how receptive people have been and how invested people are on the journey now. Like, I feel like I can breathe. Like, before beauty, it's like they only know beauty. They only know you with these products. They know you're a character. They know you're funny. They know you're, like, spontaneous and things. But they don't know, like, the grit. They don't know the intention. They don't understand the why. So, like, I feel like now I'm free. And I feel like this year is another year of foundation. I'm laying the foundation for what is to come. I don't know what that is. I have an idea, but I'm sure it will happen a lot different than what I plan up in my head. I need to get comfortable with that.
I love it. So let's talk about your pivot, because you've been getting real. I mean, you're getting real comfortable with changes. Like,
yeah, I guess so. I guess I have to.
That's the thing, you know. And we have to give ourselves more credit about how gracefully we are able to make those shifts. Because, again, I think that you've done a amazing job, a stellar job at really just taking what life has handed you, or the test that God has handed you, and making, what did they say, lemonade out of lemons, I guess, if I could be cliche for a moment. But you talked about needing to switch content from being beauty focused to focused in on like your real authentic life, moving more so in like the lifestyle family space. Mm-hmm. That's a big shift. It's a big shift for you mentally. It's a big shift for your audience. And I know that it was a big shift for the team.
Yeah, for sure. Even my family, my husband.
Yeah.
It was hard because my husband doesn't have social media. He works a full corporate America job. He's a busy man. So I know it's not going to be the typical lifestyle content that you see where it's like mom and dad are creating content together and then the kids there. It's like, it was never going to be that. Like I am, you know, I'm the cream of the crop. So how do I put myself first when it comes to lifestyle content, but still show my family and still give that, but let them know, like, you're never going to get that typical, like, couple goals, whatever, you know, from us. Like, you're not going to get that. And so I think that's, again, leaning into my voice. I know that's the strongest, right? I have to tell it from my perspective. They want to see it from my lens. So if I'm always telling from my lens, we're going to be successful because that's what people have been receptive to. So starting the series was everything. I literally said, I think if we start a series, people will become invested and they will just stick with us. Mm-hmm. So we started with the home series, putting my dream home together before this baby arrives. Okay, that one. I made one thing. It got 1 million views. I was putting the guest room together for my mom to come and stay. For my niece to come and stay with me because she's going to do an internship with me. And the video just went viral. People were very invested. Mm-hmm. Like, they were giving me, like, you need to do this, you need to do that. I don't like that. Take that down. That looks good. I was like, I am not an interior designer.
Wait a minute.
Bro, I am not an interior designer.
My feelings would have been just a little bit hurt.
Literally, everyone's opinion. And I was just like, okay, Tanya, you can either be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, or you can just be like, I mean, they're going to have their opinions, but, like, it's going to happen how it's going to happen. So I just did the entire guest room, the guest bathroom, and then everyone was invested from the series. I think I maybe had 6 episodes on just that part of the house. And I was like, well, I got a whole house coming. Mm-hmm. They don't even know. The whole house is coming. Like, I've already ordered everything. So it was really organic for me to just start with that. Yeah. But then I was like, the baby's going to come. Then what am I going to name the series? So we had to make a shift when Zaire came because I was like, this baby already arrived. They know he's here. So now it's putting my dream home together with my little man, you know, and he just sits. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't help me. And the joke is that he never helps me.
He just be breathing.
He just be breathing. I'm working hard trying to do things and he's just no help. So we were able to pivot in that series for sure, which was nice. And then we saw success from that. So I was like, okay, don't reinvent the wheel. I don't know why people always think they need to do this. Don't do that. Like, you have something that's working. So what can you do with this? And I was like, all right, motherhood is around the corner. I'm in my 3rd trimester and he's going to be here. And I know he's going to be a part of this, my story. So how do I incorporate him and get my audience ready for this shift that they're preparing to see? So we came up with part 1 of me attempting to slay motherhood. And that was before he arrived. And we did that strategically to start getting ready for Zaire. So it was all the things, putting his nursery together, getting my hospital bag together, practicing self-care in my 3rd trimester, anything. And by the time he arrived, we had so much momentum in that series. My accounts just went up. Like, it was just literally excelling.
Yeah.
And then recently, don't reinvent the wheel. Now it's putting my visions together. We have another series about me taking a Pinterest board and creating it in real time.
Because it gives people something to follow along, like
Absolutely.
The story, right?
And they want to see it. They want to see it from the beginning to the end. People love a good story. Like, they get excited. They're like, part 2, post part 42. I don't want to wait. You know, and that makes me excited to keep going because we need momentum.
Yeah.
As creators, we can burn out. And if we don't have a guide or something that we're working towards, it's really easy to get lost and just be like, why am I creating anymore? Like, I have no idea why I'm doing this. I know why I'm doing this. And I know that there's areas that people want me to show up in. And I feel the pressure. The pressure is good. It can feel a little anxiety at some point where you're like, oh my God, I need to get part 42 out today. But like, that keeps me going. That keeps me excited. So this structure works really great for me. And I've been talking to so many of my friends that feel like they're just like beating a dead horse with their content. They're like, it's just the same stuff. I'm like, switch it up.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do something different.
Especially after you've discovered your secret sauce, like you mentioned earlier about your voice. Yeah. And I think one thing that stands out is that you are super strategic, which I love, because a part of me is like, where does that come from? Because to be so...
I think I've always been this way, though. Yeah. I've been very solution-oriented most of my life.
But you're super mindful about the content that you're putting out from a strategic standpoint, which I don't know if you know this or not, but again, you're doing better than most brands out here.
Oh, thank you.
And most creators from the standpoint of concepting and getting an understanding of what your audience likes or what they love and how they want to hear from you and serving that up in a new way, but in a similar way each time, right? Like not deviating too far from what you know they enjoy, but also putting your spin on it or like what you're loving right now.
Yeah.
So I think the worst piece of, not worst, but the creator advice that I don't love is like, ask your audience what they want to see and give it to them. No, because I'm in this too.
Forget it.
Like you mentioned earlier.
Don't create something you don't like creating.
Exactly.
You're going to be stuck in that.
And you're going to get burned out. Yeah. Yeah. And what you said was like, if you don't know your why or you don't know the reason for doing this, it's easy to lose yourself in it.
For sure.
And I think it's just so important to, I won't say to know your why, because that can sound cliche for some people, but it is important to know where you're going. To have those mini goals.
For sure. And where do you see yourself? And how are you supposed to get there? Like, we look at the Jackie Inas and we're like, oh, wow, she put in years of work. Years of work. Mm-hmm. Makeup Shayla, all these people that I used to watch on YouTube thinking like, whoa, if they can do it, surely I can, you know? And I think there's another thing. You have to be willing to take risks. You have to be willing to bet on yourself and trust yourself. I have had so many people tell me that this shift that I wanted to make was not good for my brand. People that literally work in my capacity were worried about it. We really want you to stay with beauty. You make a lot of money in beauty. Why would you want to change? Those questions can make you second guess everything.
Man.
They can make you just stick to where you are, stay complacent forever. Because everyone is always going to question you on when you have a good idea. There will always be 100 voices telling you not to do it.
Yeah.
In anything that's going to turn out good. So, like, I'm so happy I didn't listen to that. Because, like, I don't think I would be... my brand would have fell apart if I stayed in beauty.
Yeah. And I think, too...
I couldn't have sustained it.
For sure. And a lot of your success has literally come from betting. A lot of your, like, for lack of better words, accelerated success has come from most likely betting on yourself and not listening 100%. To those small voices. I was going to say, would you agree?
100%.
Yes.
Like, I fully have trust in myself that I can make great decisions for me.
Absolutely.
But that's come from, again, me getting over imposter syndrome. That's come from me saying, look at the receipts, Tanya. You've done it once, do it again. Like, there's so many things telling me not to think this way. But it's like, my therapist always says, like, you have the receipts. Look at your history.
We love therapy.
Yeah, therapy's great.
Therapy is great. So let's talk about some of your wins, because I think what's also interesting is that you've built yourself up, you've rebuilt yourself up, you've laid a new foundation, and it's probably a recurring theme that happens, right? And each experience is different, like we talked about in the beginning of the show. Seasons change, and it requires different versions of us. I mean, within the year alone, you've hit 1 million on TikTok. You've almost like 100x'd your YouTube following in 4 months.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you've closed out multiple six-figure deals, at this point.
Yeah.
What is your mindset or thought on doing all of this without a blueprint? Like, what would you say, I guess, what has taught your journey thus far about excelling without a blueprint?
Yeah. It's hard because it's like we always want to guide, right? We always want to be like, well, if we do this, it's going to work out. If we try this, we're going to get this result. I'm big on just trying things. Like today I came up with something. I told my team, hey, we're going to try this today. We're just going to see how this goes, right? Because I think you need to be able to kind of just not stay in so routine. An audience doesn't always like to see the same thing, same. So sometimes you just have to switch it up just a little bit strategically, and you have to like pay attention, right? So like analytics are huge. I know a lot of people look at them and they just want to cry because like my analytics are so bad, but they can tell you so much. They're not everything, but they can tell you a lot about who you're talking to.
It's like
stuff.
checking your bank account,
Yeah.
which we don't want to do that either.
We don't want to do that, but like it would probably be good every once in a while to check that out. And if something's not working, okay, try something else. Like there's so many ideas. There's so many ways to connect with your audience. And so I think never getting too comfortable in what you're doing and always being willing to learn. This industry is moving so fast. It's moving so fast. Like it's crazy. Like I remember when they changed the link button on Instagram and it like shook us. We're like, oh, what is this sticker?
What is this sticker?
What is the sticker? I want to swipe up to get to my links.
When you had
No
to have
one's gonna
10,000
know.
followers to have swipe up and they said, psych, everyone gets swipe up.
Yeah. And I remember I got that thing unlocked first. I was on some like Instagram beta program. They gave it to me first. And they're like, you got to keep using it. I'm like, no one knows what it is. Like, don't make me put the sticker up. Like, they're not going to click on it. And now it's like nothing. You know what I mean? But for the people that are using these things first, that are rolling out first, that put their hands in the jar first, you're going to reap the benefits. YouTube Shorts, perfect example. I've been trying to grow on YouTube. I don't even want to tell you how much money I invested on YouTube in 2022. It was a pretty penny. I got a YouTube editor. I bought all the cameras. I mean, it's a disgusting amount of money that I invested in YouTube to see basically no result. I was still at like 5,000 subscribers at the end of the year. Like, okay, Tanya, you can never send anything off to an editor anymore because guess what? The way you edit is your sauce as well. So you trying to task that off because you want to be on 3 platforms right now isn't working for you.
Ooh, speak.
So cut the cost there. Put that money towards something else. Put it towards the house. Just take it out. Take it away. So I cut that out, and then I kind of quit on YouTube. I was like so scared of that platform. I was like, y'all don't like me over there. It's cool. It's cool. And then YouTube Shorts got brought up, and I remember putting a couple videos out, or I started seeing my content on YouTube Shorts. People were stealing my content from TikTok. That's what happened. One of my videos had like 20 million views.
If y'all gonna steal
On
it,
someone else's account.
I'm posting this myself.
I was like, this is crazy. We tried to get it taken down, all these things, couldn't fight it. So I was like, okay, we gotta move our stuff over there. This is crazy. We gotta beat them. We gotta beat them before they get it out. Because they get it out, then mine's not gonna perform well because it's the same piece of content. And somehow I feel like these platforms know. So I'm like, okay. So Sade on my team, my community manager, starts reposting everything. We're getting all the series up. We're just putting everything up. And we were at, I believe, 9,000 followers when Zaire was born in July. Mm-hmm. And we're now at like 350,000 subscribers. Jesus. So
we love to hear it.
Again, being willing to get your hand in the jar first. Mm-hmm. Like people are like, YouTube Shorts, it's ridiculous. We already have Reels. We already have TikTok. Like, why do we need another thing? Great. Another way for me to have an opportunity to do something here. That's how I see it. So like when a new feature comes out, when a new ad or app comes out, whatever, stop being so intimidated by it and stop being like, well, if I use it, no one's using it, so I shouldn't use it right now. No, use it. Because any platform is releasing new features to push their features onto people.
Being an early adopter is...
It's everything.
Yeah.
That's how I grew on TikTok. And so I didn't expect to see any more growth on TikTok, for a while because it became saturated. So to see growth on that platform this year has been honestly amazing to me. It's great affirmation for me. Because I always am like, oh, you always get in when it's fresh, Tanya, and that's how you do it. But no, that reconfirmed, like, you can do it the other way too. Mm-hmm. But I think, yes, taking risks and being willing to try and shift and grow. And yeah, stop thinking that you have to be this one thing. You will amaze yourself with all the things that you can do that you thought you couldn't.
I love it. I love you.
I felt that one. I love you too.
I love you. It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
intrusive thought. Sorry, guys. It happens sometimes.
It.
But no, seriously, because I'm listening and I'm watching and I'm like, yes. I mean, obviously we talked before this. Sorry, spoiler alert to y'all who think this is like our first time meeting. But
it wasn't that long. We didn't talk for that long.
Yeah, but I
didn't tell you too much.
Exactly. Exactly. But I think that it's just It's so great to hear because there's so many things that can throw you off.
Mm-hmm.
Your confidence, throw you off track, get you to feel like, oh, I'm just going to stop, because development is hard.
For sure.
It feels like suffering sometimes.
For sure.
Growth feels like suffering sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm hearing is that you just haven't stopped.
No, I've definitely taken dips. Like we've definitely had times where it's just been like I was at 750K on TikTok for like, it felt like forever. And I was just sitting there like, there's nothing that can make me grow. Like there's really like, I've been trying. And honestly, the new series and how everything came out is what it was trying something completely different than what I was doing. So that's why I'm just like, when you feel like you're at the end, when you feel like you're just stuck, like don't sit in that. Mm-hmm. Like this is an opportunity for you to look at yourself and say, what's next? What do I want? It's not a start over point. It's a pivot. That's all it is. It's not your start. You have so much more knowledge. I had so much more knowledge when this happened. It's like everything was preparing me for this. I understood all the platforms. I understood how to grow. I had my team in place. This big shift this year, I had everything ready. Mm-hmm. Even though I didn't feel ready, everything was there. Yeah. So I think, you just need to be confident in a pivot.
Did you feel like when you were wanting to hit that 1 million mark on TikTok, for example, was that more of a goal just in general for yourself, or is growth, you're like, a
mega influencer? Like, that's crazy. You got 2 million eyeballs looking at you. Everybody got 2 eyes. Like, this is crazy. You're
insane.
I think about that. It's a lot of eyes.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. For sure. One time two, it was 2.
Yeah.
Does it? It does. Yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I got nervous.
It's crazy to me. Like, I'm just like, to think me, just a random girl has 1 million followers somewhere is insane. I'm still sitting with it. Yeah. Because it's crazy. Like, I got a whole bunch of cool people rocking with me. Yeah. Like, we're all the same vibe. We all like the same stuff. Like, I have so many friends. How cool is that? Like, I feel like they're ready to do life with me. Like, that is so cool. So, yeah, it was for sure a goal. Like, I don't even really have goals from growth on TikTok anymore. Now it's just kind of like whatever happens, because it was just crazy that I did it. It was crazy. But like YouTube, like I'm coming for YouTube now, for sure. Instagram, I don't really care. But YouTube, you next on my agenda. Show.
I love that. Well, I appreciate you for being here with us today. I'm like, we could continue this on and on and on. But I must ask, for our listeners, for our viewers, are there any projects that you're currently working on across these channels? You did just say YouTube, that you're coming for YouTube, but is there anything that we could be out or we could be on the lookout for that you're ready to share with us today?
There is something, but I don't think I can share it with you guys today. But I will say maybe you will see me in another medium digitally.
We will.
And it's very exciting. But you might see me somewhere else. And this has just been something we've been manifesting. So that's all I can really say. But YouTube for sure. I definitely want to work more on long form videos over there. Like YouTube Shorts, we're crushing it. But I definitely want to give more behind the scenes into like my lifestyle and my life and all of that. And a product eventually for sure. Like there's a lot of things that I think I sell for other brands that I could definitely do on my own. And it's just a matter of finding the right vendors, right? The right supplier, all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely something that we're working on in the background. But that's all I'm going to say for that. But yeah, another medium.
She gave us like a little sneak peek, but still be on the lookout. Yeah. Across all platforms. Yeah. Oh yeah, where can we find you across all platforms?
So you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Lemonade. Shout out to Lemonade. At Life of Tanya Marie.
I know, who's on Lemonade? I'm not on Lemonade.
I'm on Lemonade.
After this conversation, I'm on Lemonade. And
I mean, I'm not super active, but I'm over there.
The next platform after that, because early adopters.
Yeah.
Like she said.
That's what I'm saying.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Well, as you know, to close us out, the podcast is titled The Minor Detail. So we like to get into the nitty gritty. We like to know all of the details, especially the small ones. If you had to leave us with one minor detail, with the minor detail that has helped you along the way, gotten you thus far, what would that be?
Your voice is powerful. That's it. That's the only thing that will literally set you aside from anyone else is your voice. So lean into that, whatever that may be. It'll get you places.
And that's that. That's that. Well,
Yep.
thank you so much for joining us today.
you.
For
This
those
was
of y'all
wonderful.
tuning in, thank you once again. Always grateful. Don't forget to subscribe to the show. Don't forget to follow, save, share with a friend if you felt like this resonated with you, because this is not the end. We're keeping it coming and coming and coming. It's about consistency around here. Am I right?
Facts. Big facts.
So without further ado, we will see y'all next time. Thank you again. We'll chat soon. Bye.
What?
Woo! It was.